everyone, welcome back to part 6 of the beginner scratch course. In the last part, we made this game where we have a beetle, we can follow the apple, and we get score. In this episode, we're going to start by creating a new game by going to File, New, and it'll save our old project if we're online, so we can go back and refer to that if needed. But I want to show you something that's really going to become helpful, and that's the tutorials section right here. So in Scratch, if you click this tutorials button, as you can see, they've given us a bunch of tutorials on how to build these different games. So let's scroll down and let's create a Pong game. If we click this, you can see we have this little tab that'll show us what we're trying to build and the different steps. We can drag this around our canvas, and let's go to the first step. Let's hit the right button, and you can see they want us to add a backdrop. So how are we going to add a backdrop? Let's click here, choose a backdrop, scroll down until we find the neon tunnel. The next thing we want to do is add a ball sprite. So you can assume that we have to delete this cat sprite by pressing this trash button. Click here, and let's look for our ball. The next thing we want to do is bounce around. So we're going to go to events, and you can see we can just copy what it says here. When flag is clicked, go to motion, point in direction 45, and then go to control, drag in a forever, move 15 steps, that's in motion, and then if on edge, bounce. So we can scroll down to find that block. Again, the way this forever works is that everything inside of it will happen until we stop our game by pressing this button. So let's click the green flag and see what happens. We now have a ball that bounces around. Awesome. Let's hit the stop button and let's go to the next step. They want us to add a paddle. So let's go here. And we can search for our paddle by typing in paddle here. The next thing we want to do is be able to move the paddle with this script. So we can go to events, then go to control, drag in the forever, then go to motion, and you can see that the colors here correspond to the colors here. And we're going to scroll down, drag in a set X to mouse X. So Scratch uses an XY coordinate system to locate the position of any character. If you don't know what that means, no worries, you can just use what they've put here. But basically, the X is the horizontal distance from the middle, and the Y is the vertical distance from the middle. So our paddle, as you can see, has an X of 27 and a Y of negative 20. Now, if we brought it to the top right, you can see it's very far from the X to the right, so we're going to have a 200X, and it's very high vertically from the middle as well. So 167, for example. Anyways, here we've just added this script, so let's click the green flag. You can see that the paddle is following your mouse. However, in the game, the paddle seems to be at the bottom, so let's drag this paddle down here. And now this is how we want the game to look. So you can see that eventually the ball is going to bounce off of the paddle. Let's click the next button. We're going to select the ball sprite. And we're going to add some code to bounce the ball off the paddle, like I just said. So let's quickly create this. Go to events, drag in a when flag is clicked. Scroll down to control, drag in a forever and an if. You may remember we used the same piece of code in our last part. Then go to sensing, drag in a touching paddle, go to motion, drag in a turn right 180 degrees, and move 15 steps. Then you can wait 0.5 seconds. You're going to find that in control. And now you can see if we click, we now can bounce the ball off our paddle. Awesome. Let's click the right arrow, and we're going to add a score like we did in our last game. So go to variables, create a new variable called score, press OK. Let's click the right arrow again, and they want us to change this to score, and they want us to insert this block in here where we're touching the paddle. So every time you hit the ball, you gain a score. Let's drag in the script. So go to events, drag in a when flag is clicked, go to variables, and set score to 0. And so now if we click, we start our score at 0, and you can see that every time we hit, our score goes up. So we're at 3, now we're at 4, now we're at 5, and you can see I continue to play. Let's see what else they have in this tutorial. Let's click the right arrow. They want us to add a line sprite. So let's choose a sprite, search up line. And they want us to drag it to the bottom, as you can see here. So we'll drag it right there. And they want us to add some code as well for a game over. So we're going to go to events. When flag is clicked, go to control, forever, if, go to sensing, touching, ball. So you can see we use this individual script a lot, and we've already used it 3 times in this series. Then go to control, and we will drag in this stop all. This will stop everything in the game, so it's a pretty dangerous button, but we're going to use it for game over. So now if I click the green flag, you can see that I can hit the paddle, and if I miss, our game stops. As you can see, there are other things for you to try, and this was just one example of creating a Pong game, but I hope you've seen that it's pretty easy to do. They have some nice tutorials, and you can continue to follow along and learn more about Scratch through these different tutorials. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and peace.